right? Okay. So this is the last part of your upper limb lectures. This is the most part of the upper limb. Distal to wrist joint is the hand. So let's learn about the hand. What are the muscles, vessels, nerves present in the arm. Before getting into the details of the structures within the hand, let's look into the skeleton of the hand, okay? The skeleton of the hand consists of about 27 bones, okay? So in that, 8 are carpal and these 5 are metacarpal bones, and then these are the phalanges. These phalanges make up the skeleton of the digits of the fingers, okay? So carpal bones. So there are 8 carpal bones, okay, arranged in 2 rows. So 4 carpal bones in each row. So 4 in the proximal row and 4 in the distal row. So that's how the 8 carpal bones are arranged. The proximal row makes articulation with the radius to form the wrist joint. So I was telling you in the last class about the radius and ulna, where I stressed upon that ulna will not take part in the formation of the wrist joint, right?
Yes.
So only the radius will take part in the formation of the wrist joint. So what separates the ulna from the brushing your teeth here? So an articular disc will separate the ulna from the wrist joint, right? So 8 carpal bones, proximal row and distal row. So they are named from lateral to medial side. Like the first row you have scaphoid, okay. Then next is the lunate, okay. Then you have triquetrum and then the pisiform. So this is the first scaphoid, and then lunate, then triquetrum, and then the pisiform. These are the 4 carpal bones in the proximal row, okay. Out of which mainly the scaphoid and lunate will articulate with the radius to form the wrist joint, okay. And the distal row, again from lateral to medial side, you have trapezium, trapezoid, capitate and hamlet. Shall I repeat? So proximal row, scaphoid, lunate, okay. Then third is triquetrum, then pisiform. And the distal row, trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, hamlet. I think there is a mnemonic to remember the names of these 8 carpal bones. And I guess when I say it, you might be a little embarrassed, because we usually use this mnemonic to remember the 8 carpal bones back to in India. So all our students there in India, they remember the names of these 8 carpal bones by a mnemonic. So even though I am going to tell it, so that is, she looks too pretty, try to catch her. What is that?
See it slowly.
So she looks too pretty, try to catch her. She, S for scaphoid, looks, L for lunate. Okay, 2. First T, that is where triquetrum, pretty. P for pisiform, and then try 2. Again, so first T for, the second T for trapezium, and then trapezoid, catch, C for capitate, her, H for hamlet, okay. You can remember these 8 carpal bones by this mnemonic, okay. This is the 8 carpal bones arranged in 2 rows, 4 in each row. So attached to the distal row of these carpal bones, you have 5 metacarpal bones. So look at the numbering here, they are numbered from lateral to medial side. So always any muscle, even in the, for example, the lumbricals and the interosseids, we number them, okay, because there are more lumbricals. We name them as first lumbrical, second lumbrical, third lumbrical. They are muscles, intrinsic muscles. So always in the hand, they are counted from lateral to medial side in anatomical position like this. Okay, this is the anatomical position of the upper neck. Okay, holding like this. So then starting from thumb towards the little finger. This is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Am I clear? The first metacarpal bone, second, third, fourth and fifth. So we are counting it from lateral to medial side. Whereas it is the exactly opposite in foot. We are counting from medial to lateral side. That is from great toe to little toe. Remember this. So whenever I say second metacarpal, this is for your index finger, not the ring finger. So we are counting it from lateral to medial side. Am I clear? Okay? Yes. So the 5 metacarpal bones. Okay? And then the phalanges. Each finger is having 3 phalanges. Sometimes thumb may be having only 2. One is missing. Okay? So these are the phalanges. So altogether this makes the skeleton of the hand. The carpals, metacarpals and phalanges. Am I clear about the skeleton of the hand? So now let's go further. So before come in fast. So any region, again I am telling it, any region in the body, we are studying right from the skin. Then go to the deeper structures. So if you look at the skin here in the hand, so it is different here in the palmar aspect and even in the dorsal aspect. How is the skin on the dorsum of the hand? It is thin skin, yes. It is thin skin, it is even having hairs, okay, and it is pliable, you can lift the skin from the surface, right? So this is called as pliable. The skin on the dorsum of the hand is thin and pliable, and you have lot of loose areolar tissue in the superficial fascia on the dorsum. Okay, so that's why any edema in the hand, they appear on the dorsum rather than in the palmar aspect, because you have lot of loose areolar tissue. There is space for any exudate can accumulate there and cause swelling. And even you find superficial veins on the dorsum, but not on the palmar aspect. Okay, the palmar aspect, if you see, the skin is thick. Okay, it is thick skin, and you cannot pick the skin. You cannot hold the skin. When you are trying to hold the skin, even you will get the underlying structures also. So it is less pliable compared to the dorsum of the hand. Okay, and even why it is not pliable? Because it is adherent to the underlying structures. Adherent to the underlying structures. Why it is adherent? Why it is not loose like the dorsum? Because for the grip, the skin is thick and not pliable to help you in holding some structures, like that is in the grip. Clear? And even though it is a thick skin, you have lot of sensory nerve endings, especially the tip of the fingers. Okay, that is where which helps humans in doing all the skillful movements. Okay, and even the skills, because of the high sensitive skin. So whenever you want to feel something, you use palm rather than dorsum, right? Why? You have more sensory endings. All the sensory endings much are there in the palmar aspect, okay, rather than your dorsum. So that is about the skin. And very importantly, absence of veins, superficial veins in the palm. Why? And even in the sole of the foot. Why no veins, superficial veins in the palm? Common sense. Yeah. So you are doing it for doing some work, that is holding in grip. So when you do the grip, there won't be any venous blood flow towards the upper side. So to prevent that, all the veins, superficial veins, are shifted to the dorsum. Similarly in the foot, they are on the dorsum of the foot rather than the sole, because you will be walking, you will be continuously bearing weight on the sole. There is no chance for the venous blood to drain, because the veins will be compressed. So to avoid that, there is absence of superficial veins in the palm as well as the sole. They are shifted to the dorsum. Okay. So that is the same slide explaining the skin. So now, one important surface landmark that you find in the hand, and even at the wrist. Okay. So that's landmarks. You just extend the thumb. Everyone, you just extend your thumbs. You will find a depression there. You find? Okay. So that depression is called as the snuff box. What is that? Anatomical snuff box bounded by these extensor pollicis tendons. What tendons? Extensor polycystic tendons, brevis and longus. Between them is the depression that is called as snuff box. Why it is called as snuff box? Because usually you put any substance you want to sniff. Okay, you will then put on the dog here in this snuff box and then sniffing. Okay, so that's why this is called as the anatomical snuff box. Okay, bounded by the extensor polycystic tendons, and the floor of which is formed by the scaphoid and as well as the styloid process of the radius. What is the floor of this? Scaphoid and then the styloid process of the radius. You find the radial artery after coming to the front of the ear wrist, it winds round the radius, runs in this snuff box and comes to the dorsum, where it pierces the dorsum of the hand between the thumb and index finger. You can say the first dorsal interossea, it pierces, goes deep and then again comes to the palmar aspect. We'll study that later part of our lecture. So that is the snuff box. Okay, there's the boundaries, as I said, the polycystic, extensor polycystic tendons make the boundaries. And the floor is formed by the scaphoid and the styloid process of radius. It contains the radial arch. Am I clear? So next, to come to the palmar aspect, you cut the skin and reflect it. What do you find? Next to skin, here is in the palm is the palmar aponeurosis. What is that? Palmar aponeurosis. Aponeurosis. We already told you what is the meaning of aponeurosis. Flattened tendon. So you have I was telling you when we are discussing about the forearm muscles. One of the muscle in the front of the forearm is a degenerating muscle. What is that?
Palmaris.
Palmaris longus. Palmaris longus, right? So palmaris longus tendon crossing over the wrist, it becomes flattened. It becomes flat and then forms this palmar aponeurosis. Palmar aponeurosis. So that's why I was telling you some years later in future, so you may lose this muscle, only left behind will be the aponeurosis of it. Okay, the palmar aponeurosis. So this is the structure, very important structure in the palm, okay, which is triangular shaped, the apex of which is towards the retinaculum, which is continuous to the tendon of the palmaris longus, whereas the base of this splits. See here, it is splitting, right? Splitting and then attached to the fingers. So that is the palmar aponeurosis. The main function of this palmar aponeurosis is to give protection to the underlying structures. And even some of the fiber, they will be even attached to the skin. So this is cup shaped, right? Because the tendons are kept deep, okay? And even they are protected by this palmar aponeurosis. Palmar aponeurosis. That is the main function of this palmar aponeurosis. Some authors even they consider it as the thickening of the deep fascia. Okay. So what is the function of palmar aponeurosis? Protection to the underlying structures. So next, after removal of you will cut the palmar aponeurosis and reflect. And this is the picture. The hand appears like this picture. So showing all the tendons which are going from the forearm to the hand. And even there are muscles which are present within the hand, taking origin and inserting within the hand. They are called as intrinsic muscles. Where the tendons which are going from the forearm to the hand, they are called as the extrinsic. Extrinsic tendons and then the intrinsic muscles. So you can find it here. These are all the tendons. That is belong to the muscles of the forearm. Whereas these muscles, see this? So they are the muscles which are present within the hand. Okay. Both attachments, origin and insertion, are present within the hand. So they are called as the intrinsic muscles. Okay. So if you observe your palm, so you find two eminences. Okay. One eminence means an elevation line. Okay. So towards the thumb is your, what is this? Thenar eminence, and towards the little finger is the hypothenar eminence. Thenar eminence and hypothenar eminence. Between them is the depression, cup-shaped depression. Okay. So thenar and hypothenar eminence. These eminences are due to the muscles present in this area, which are responsible for the movement of the thumb and little finger respectively. So in the thenar eminence there are muscles which are helpful in the movement of the thumb, and then there are muscles in the hypothenar eminence which are responsible for the movement of the little finger. Am I clear? Okay. So let's look into what are these muscles which make up this thenar eminence and the hypothenar eminence. Okay. And what are the extrinsic tendons which are coming from the forearm and inserting into the digits. Okay. So let's learn first about the thenar group of muscles. Yes, you find 4 muscles in the thenar eminence. How many? 4 muscles. And if you look into the name of those muscles, they explain their action. So you have, yes, flexor pollicis brevis. What is that? Flexor pollicis brevis. So as we already discussed, pollicis in thumb. Okay. So flexor pollicis brevis, a small muscle. Because we have flexor pollicis longus, which becomes an extrinsic tendon, right? In the forearm we have that. So that's why here it is brevis. Next is abductor pollicis brevis. Again you have abductor pollicis longus coming from the back of the forearm. Okay. Next is opponens pollicis. Opponens pollicis, which helps in your opposition movement, getting the thumb to all the tips of all the fingers, like this action. This is opposition, right? Okay, this action is done by this opponens pollicis. And the last is the adductor pollicis. This is the only adductor. You don't have any adductor, right? Only you have is the abductor from the forearm, no adductor. So this is the adductor pollicis, which is a transverse. See this? This is the adductor pollicis. You can see all the 4 muscles here. The flexor pollicis brevis, abductor pollicis brevis, opponens pollicis, adductor pollicis. Am I clear? These are the 4 muscles in the thenar eminence. And the actions of these muscles: flexor pollicis, flexion. Okay. Then abductor, so it causes abduction. And then opponens, I showed you. This is the opposition action. And then adductor pollicis, that is adduction. This action. We'll show the slide. Show the movement of the thumb. Flexus thumb, abductus thumb, opposition of thumb, reduction. And you will not remember the attachment. Just remember the names. To name the thenar group of muscles. What are they? Flexor pollicis brevis, abductor pollicis brevis, opponens pollicis, and adductor pollicis. Okay. So what is their action? It's there in the name. So this is the picture. A good slide explaining the movements of the thumb. If they ask you to demonstrate the actions, usually you confuse between extension and abduction. So this is adducted thumb. This is adduction. Okay. So now I will show you abduction. This is abduction. This is adduction. Then flexion, extension, flexion, extension. Okay. Then opposition. Am I clear? These are the actions of the thumb, showing the, you see there, adduction. This is adduction. Abduction, just bring it. Flexion, extension.
What's the difference between abduction and flexion?
See here, this is adduction. This is abduction. Flexion, extension. Flexion, extension. This is adduction. This is abduction.
What's the difference between abduction and extension?
See, you are getting the finger from adducted position to abduction. This is not done by your extensor. So flexed thumb is bring back to its position. Back. This is extension. This is extension. This is not abduction, because you are getting it from flexed position to the extension. You are extending. This is adducted, and this is abduction. Adduction, abduction. This is done by abductor, not by extensor. So now flexion, and then extension, and then opposition. Am I clear?
Clear.
So that is about the thenar muscles and their actions. Next, go to the hypothenar muscles. So you have three here: flexor digiti minimi brevis, okay, and then abductor digiti minimi, and similarly opponens digiti minimi. Am I clear? What are they? Digiti minimi meaning the little finger or the pinky, okay. Flexor digiti minimi brevis, because you have flexor digiti minimi also from the forearm, okay. And then abductor digiti minimi, and then opponens digiti minimi. No adductor. Keep in mind, no adductor. Okay? No adductor for the little finger. It's only there for thumb, that is pollicis. These are the three muscles. Again, the action is same. Flexion, flexion, abduction, and then opposition. Same. Especially to the mainly to your what is that? Thumb. The action same as I explained. So now, we'll study the nerve supply of all these muscles in the later part of our lecture. Okay. So now let's look into other intrinsic muscles in addition to your thenar and hypothenar muscles. The first one is the lumbricals. The lumbricals meaning they look like worms, worms. Okay? You know the caterpillar? Worm. Okay? They look like worms. See here? Right? As they look like worms, they are called as the lumbricals. And they are 4 in number. They are numbered from lateral to medial side. All the 4 are named as lumbricals only, and they are numbered. First lumbrical, second lumbrical, third lumbrical, and fourth lumbrical. As I was telling you, we name the structures in the hand from lateral to number the structures from lateral to medial side. Okay. First lumbrical, second lumbrical, third lumbrical, and fourth lumbrical. And these all lumbricals, they take origin from these tendons, right? They are taking origin from the tendons. What tendons? Tendons of flexor digitorum profundus. What is that? Flexor digitorum profundus. The tendons of the flexor digitorum profundus give origin for lumbricals. How many are there? 4. Because again and again I have to get back into the lecture. Your mind will be somewhere. That's why I ask questions, so that you can come back. Okay, if you observe this first and second lumbrical, they are unipinnate. Am I right? They are unipinnate. What do you mean by unipinnate? How do you classify the muscles? Yeah, I know. You can see if you look at this picture, you will understand it. Very clear here. So 2 fibers, that is bipinnate. Only 1 fiber is the unipinnate. You can see the first and second, they are unipinnate. Attached only to the lateral side of the first tendon and then the second digitorum tendon. Am I clear? They are the unipinnate muscles. And then third and fourth, if you observe, they are arising from the adjacent sides. Am I clear? Adjacent sides of third arising from the adjacent side of second and third tendon, and the fourth from the adjacent side of the third and fourth tendon. Am I clear? So first and second lumbrical are unipinnate, second and third and fourth are bipinnates. And if you observe their insertion, their distal attachment, they go to dorsal digital expansion. You know a muscle similar to your digitorum muscles in the front of the forearm. One is there on the extensor. What is that? The tendon divides into 4 for the 4 muscles, 4 fingers.
Digitorum superficial.
On the extensor side, what is that muscle? Extensor digitorum. Extensor digitorum. So here this tendon, the extensor digitorum tendon for these medial 4 fingers, before it is inserting, it forms an expansion. Like you say, like a hood of a snake, like it expands. It expands and then inserted into the phalanx. So that expansion will receive the insertion of lumbricals. See here, the lumbricals are there on the palmar side. They are on the palmar side, and then they go and insert on the dorsal side. Am I clear? They are on the palmar side and they go and insert on the dorsal side. So when they contract, what do you expect? You expect flexion. Flexion where? At the metacarpophalangeal joint. Metacarpophalangeal joint. You have carpals and then metacarpals. How are the carpals articulated with metacarpals? The distal row of the carpal bones articulating with the metacarpal bones, right? That is carpo-metacarpal joint. And these metacarpals, they articulate with proximal phalanx of all the fingers, right? So that joint is called as metacarpophalangeal joint. And the joints between the phalanges, interphalangeal joints. Did you follow?
Yes, yes.
The joint between the carpal bones and the metacarpals. Carpo-metacarpal joint and the metacarpals with the proximal phalanges. Metacarpophalangeal joint. Okay, that causes flexion at the metacarpophalangeal joint. Okay, and this joint, this increases. This is interphalangeal joint. Interphalangeal joint. You have three phalanges: proximal, midline, distal. Now the joints between those phalanges, they are called the interphalangeal joint. Am I clear? So now, see, the lumbrical is going like this. It is there on the ventral aspect and inserted on the dorsal distal expansion. So when this contract, it causes flexion at the metacarpophalangeal joint and extension at the interphalangeal joints. Extension at the interphalangeal joint. Clear? Flexion at the metacarpophalangeal joint and extension at the interphalangeal joint. So these movements, very skillful movements, right? So these movements are done by this lumbricals. What is the action of lumbricals?
So they don't
Flexion at the metacarpophalangeal joint, extension at the interphalangeal joint. Did you understand?
So they don't cause flexion?
Yeah.
This movement. They don't cause flexion?
No. Interphalangeal joint is done by this digitorum superficialis and profundus tendons. This flexion. I said extension.
Yes.
Extension and then flexion here.
Okay.
Extension at the interphalangeal. Flexion at the metacarpophalangeal. This action is by lumbricals. Flexion at the metacarpophalangeal and extension at the interphalangeal. Clear? So how many lumbricals?
4.
4. First and second are unipinnate, third and fourth are bipinnate. So these lumbricals, they arise from tendons of
flexor.
Profundus.
flexor digitorum profundus. Next go to the intraosseous, the other intrinsic muscles, the last part of your intrinsic muscles, that is they are called as interosseous, just like your intraosseous membrane, what I was explaining in radius and ulna, as they are attached between the metacarpal bones, okay, they are called as interosseous. What they are called as? Interosseous muscles here, not the membrane, okay. So you have 7, even sometimes 8 also, interosseous muscles, 3 on the palmar side and 4 on the dorsal side. I will show you when we go to the lab, okay. So you have 3 on the palmar side and 4 on the dorsal side. How many? 7, 8 interosseous muscles. You see it here, these are the interosseous. See there? Okay. They are bipinnate. See there? Between the this is the metacarpal bone. Okay? Between them is that interossei muscles. Okay? And this is what is the extensor digitorum tendon. See, they are expanding, right? Like the snake, hood of a snake. See there? They are expanding and then go to phalanx. This is the extensor digitorum tendon. And even you can see, very interesting point here, all these tendons are interconnected.
Yes.
They are interconnected. That's why you cannot do extension of leaving behind the which are having the separate extensors, extensor indicis, extensor pollicis and digiti minimi. Can you, I will put my hand like this, can you do the extension of only one finger? Right?
Yes.
You can do the ring and the middle finger, only one finger. Try it. Extension. This is, you keep your hand like this. You do the extension of only one finger. Even the other finger will also follow. Why? Because these tendons are interconnected.
That's how we do it.
Index, I said, index you can do it because you have separate extensor. Extensor indicis.
Also,
No, you are putting pressure. No, you can't. It's difficult. It's difficult. You are pressing. You will do the flexion. You will do the firm flexion and then do the extension. But it's difficult, right? When you do the extension, see here. The ring, this other finger will also follow because of the intertendinous connections. So I am asking you to do only the extension, not you do flex this and then extend this. Only extension you have to perform. That is not possible because of the intertendinous connections. So that is about the dorsal digital expansion and intertendinous connections. So coming back to these interosseous, they are the palmar interossei and then the dorsal interossei. So palmar interosseous, so you can again see they are unipinnate. And the dorsal interosseous are bipinnate. So look at this attachment. So this is the thumb. Just try to orient yourself, okay? So this is lateral side and this is medial side. This is little finger side, this is thumb side. Look into the attachment of these palmar interossei first. So this is the first palmar interossei originating from medial side of the second metacarpal bone.
From the lateral
inserting
side.
into again the expansion, or you can say the base of the proximal phalanx. Which side?
Doctor?
Medial side.
Origin from the lateral side?
Origin from the again medial side. See, this is the thumb.
Okay.
If you follow, this is the thumb.
Okay.
And this is the little finger. First interossei I am talking. First interossei, it is originating from the medial side. Medial side of the second metacarpal bone and inserting into medial side of the base of the proximal phalanx of the same finger, with the index finger. Clear? And the second, the third digit will not have attachment of any palmar interossei because it forms the axis, central axis. Okay? And then look into the second interossei, second palmar interossei. It is originating from the lateral side. Very important. Lateral side of the fourth metacarpal and going to the lateral side of the base of the proximal phalanx of the same finger. Clear? And similarly, the third also originating from the lateral side of the fifth metacarpal and then inserting into lateral side of the proximal phalanx of the same, the little finger. Am I clear?
Yes.
So what do you expect when they contract? Adduction. Adduction of the fingers. Adduction of the fingers. So palmar interossei do adduction. This forms the axis. See, that's the attachment. If you remember the action, you can write the attachment. See, when this is fanned out, right? When you are bringing these fingers towards the central axis, This is adduction. What you are doing? You are moving the index finger medially, whereas you are moving the ring and little finger laterally. So is the attachment. First, palmar interossei originate from the medial side of the second metacarpal, go to the medial side of the base of the proximal phalanx. Whereas second will go to lateral side. Third also will go to lateral side. That's why they do adduction. You can remember like pad, P-A-D, mnemonic again to remember the action of palmar interossei. P for palmar interossei, pad, you know, A-D. A-D for adduction. Palmar interossei do adduction. An MCQ, right? Palmar interossei do adduction, abduction, flexion, etc. What is the action of palmar interossei? Adduction. A-double-D. Okay. Then now observe the dorsal interossei. Dorsal interossei. They take origin from the adjacent sides of the metacarpal bones. Adjacent sides of the metacarpal bones. See the attachment of the first. It is going to the lateral side of the proximal phalanx of the index finger. Whereas second and third, look at here, very clear difference between the palmar and dorsal. Both are attached to the middle finger. One on the medial side, one on the lateral side. Whereas palmar, no attachment. Dorsal on both the sides. Medial side as well as the lateral side as well as the medial side. The second and then the third. And then the fourth is attached to the medial side of the proximal phalanx of the ring finger. So when they contract, what do you expect? Abduction. Abduction. And very, very important point you can observe here, there is no attachment of dorsal interossei to the your either the thumb or the little finger. Why?
To keep the flexion.
There is no attachment of dorsal interossei attached only to these middle three fingers, not to the thumb and little finger. Yeah? I didn't get you. What? Operated?
Yes.
What is operated? Opposition. No. Why there is no attachment of dorsal interossei to the thumb and little finger?
Because of
they
muscles.
have
Thinner
their
muscle.
own abductors. You have abductor digiti minimi. You have abductor pollicis brevis, abductor pollicis longus. You have the other muscles to do the abduction. Whereas these three fingers doesn't have. So that's why you have the attachment of dorsal interossei to these fingers. Right? So similarly, the adductor is absent to the thumb, the palmar interossei, because you have adductor pollicis. But same as I said, the little finger doesn't have adductor. So you have the attachment of palmar interossei to the little finger. Am I clear? It's just like mathematics. Palmar interossei, dorsal interossei, their attachment. Clear? And remember the actions. Pad and dab. Show that. Dab, D-A-B. Right? Pad means palmar interossei doing adduction. D-A-B, dab. Dorsal interossei doing abduction. If you remember these two words, pad and dab, you will remember the action and even you can write the attachment also. If you remember the action, it is very easy to write the attachment, right? And even you should remember this middle finger forms the axis. Dorsal interossei on either side of the middle finger and no palmar interossei to the middle finger. Clear? Yes. So this is about all the intrinsic muscles, all the intrinsic muscles of the hand. So I will repeat, how many studied? How many did we study?
8.
Thenar, hypothenar, lumbricals and interossei. How many thenar?
4.
Thenar 4.
No, I am asking how many muscles in the thenar group? 4. What are they?
Opinions.
Flexor pollicis brevis,
Opinions.
abductor pollicis brevis, adductor pollicis, opponens pollicis. How about hypothenar? 3. Which is absent?
Adductor.
Adductor is absent. Okay. So flexor digiti minimi brevis, abductor digiti minimi, and then opponens digiti minimi. Okay. So this 4 thenar, 3 hypothenar. How many lumbricals?
4.
4. Attachment on the flexor digitorum profundus tendon. Okay. First they are numbered. Okay. From lateral to medial side. First, second, third, fourth. First and second they are the unipinnate. Third and fourth are the bipinnate. Then come the introshay. How many? 7. 4 dorsal, 3 palmar. 3 palmar they do adduction, no attachment over to the middle finger. Okay, and they are unipinnate. 4 dorsal adjacent sides of the metacarpal bones. Okay, they are bipinnate and attached on either side of the middle finger, and they do abduction, fanning up, pad and tap. So these are all the intrinsic muscles. Now we go study the nerve supply for all these muscles. Just follow my word carefully. All the muscles, I mean the intrinsic muscles in the hand are supplied by which nerve?
Median.
I was talking you. I was explaining you in the what is that lecture of forearm.
Yeah, you said median nerve for this side.
Median
For the
nerve
three finger.
mainly for the wrist movement, and even that's why it is called as which nerve? Carpenter nerve. Whereas ulnar nerve supplies many muscles in the hand.
Musician.
Much their area of supply is mainly in the hand. That's why it is called as musician's nerve. Not much in the forearm. What is the nerve supply of the which muscles are supplied by ulnar with the forearm?
Sorry?
Very good. And digitorum profundus. Very good. Only this 1.5. Whereas the rest by median nerve. So main supply of the ulnar nerve is in the hand. So all muscles in the hand, all the intrinsic muscles in the hand are supplied by ulnar nerve. Again, except first and second lumbrical, and the thenar muscles. In that again one exception, that is adductor pollicis. Rest are supplied by median nerve.
Okay.
So you can remember again. You can remember it like vice versa. You understand the nerve supply of the median nerve in the hand, then all other muscles by ulnar nerve. So median nerve supplies only
Adductor of the thenar nerve.
5 muscles in the hand. Okay, it supplies all the thenar muscles except adductor pollicis,
Except.
and it even supplies first and second lumbrical. Clear? Only 5. First and second lumbrical, 3 thenar muscles, except
Adductor.
the adductor. Adductor is supplied by ulnar. If you remember this median, you remember the median nerve supply, then all other by ulnar nerve. Like all the introsseous, third and fourth, lumbrical, all the hypothenar muscles, and even the adductor pollicis, one of the thenar. They are supplied by ulnar nerve. Am I clear? So what is the nerve supply of, what is the muscles which are supplied by median nerve in the hand?
All the thenar muscles except the adductor and the
Except